That's okay. I'd rather not broadcast without meaning to broadcast. Okay, here we go. Welcome, everyone.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. We're with you too. We're so glad to have you on our virtual Excel Academy. Today we have a very special day with Intro to Infant Massage for Kids with Visual Impairment by Kimala Rein. She is a certified infant massage therapist. She is a TBI and COMS, and she splits her time working in early intervention between Colorado and Alaska. She has a tremendous expertise in remote learning. So we are excited to have her. Good afternoon, Sanaya, glad to have you back. If you have a doll or a baby, that would be perfect for today's lesson. We are going to learn how to massage an infant. There is also a handout available, and Charlotte has put a link for that PDF in the chat window, and you may download that and have that side by side for this. If you do have a doll or a baby, will you please let us know who you are, where you're from, what your role is, and if you're working with a doll or a baby. And friends at home, if you don't have a doll and you just want to get yourself a little plush stuffy, that is okay. I'm going to be doing infant massage on my little stuffed plushy otter, and that's what I have available to me. So if you have one, go and grab that and come back and join us. Paige, welcome from Louisville, Kentucky. You have a doll. That's fantastic. And as you type in the chat window, I just want to quickly introduce our hostesses. Leanne from APH.
Hello, all, and hello, Whitney. I'm glad your son is with you.
Hello, Charlotte.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Charlotte is from Perkins and Texas School for the Blind and represents Paths to Literacy. So thank you all for joining us. Kimala, we are excited to have you. We'll let you take it away.
All right, great. Oh, cool. So I am reading that there are a lot of people with stuffies and dolls and a few people with some babies and people from all over the world. Great. So my name is Kimala Rein. And like they said, I'm a teacher of students with visual impairments and an orientation and mobility specialist. And I'm really excited to share with you today some of the things I do with families who have a kid who's visually impaired. I'm going to walk you through an introduction. I'm not going to be able to teach you everything there is about the whole body and massage, but we're going to start with legs. And we're going to start in a very relaxed way to just plant the seed of what early infant massage is and why it's so great for babies. So I'm going to share a little bit about what I do. So this is my introduction. I am a teacher of the visually impaired, and I'm a certified infant massage instructor. So sometimes people get confused with the word instructor and therapist. So I'm not a therapist. I get to instruct parents, or in this case, I'm getting to instruct students like you guys, how to massage your stuffed animal. So I'm not actually doing the massage on the stuffed animal. I'm the teacher for you to teach you how to do it. And we've already introduced each other and we're kind of getting to know each other through the chat. During this session, you guys are learners. You're going to learn about infant massage. You're going to practice the strategies that I have discovered are useful for a visually impaired baby to learn from their parents. And then it would be really fun if we discuss ways you can use infant massage in your own life. So you know what happens today? We're going to talk about infant massage, just talk about it. Then we're going to practice it. And then again, we're going to have a conversation about the infant massage. Some of the big words you might hear, you don't have to memorize all these, but you know, if you want to know about some of this big learning thing we're doing, it is a lot of fun to know about relationship-based learning for babies, non-visual communication techniques, we're going to use the word orientation mobility. I'm going to use the word cortisol. I'm going to use the word forewarning, hand under hand, blind and low vision skills, and cue offers and cue readings. So you've probably heard a bunch of those words before, or maybe they're all brand new to you, but I wanted to let you know I'm going to talk about those things. I want to ask a question. How many of you have had a massage or have given a massage? And maybe what did it feel like? I'm going to read, you can type that into the chat. We have Emily says she loves getting massages. Oh, somebody's a TBI and a reflexologist. Somebody's done both and it feels healing. Let's see, it's luxurious. Hot stone massages. Wow, you guys have had some cool experiences. Hand massages, nice. Sounds like we have a bunch of interesting people out there. So I'm gonna get started with a little bit of background information. Why this is so great for a baby who doesn't use their vision, and why it's so great for a parent who's got a baby who doesn't use their vision in the home. So why am I here? I'm here for the same reason you guys are. School is out for you, and maybe elementary school is closed, high school is closed, college is closed. Well, the school for babies is closed also. I'm an early intervention teacher, so I go into the homes and teach babies in their home. And guess what? Can't do that now. So their school is closed too. So everybody here is using this wonderful new way of learning together so that our community of visually impaired learners continues to grow. I've got some more questions for you. So if I started out as a teacher of the visually impaired in the school system, I probably had to think about what my students needed to learn. My students, I think in the school system, they needed books that were accessible. Some of the things they needed were a cane and some instructions so they could get from their bus home. So when I was a teacher in the school system, I had to think about their needs and give it to them. Then I worked with adults and I had to think about what those adults needed. I had a new job. And what do you think adults might need? They probably ask me for help learning how to cook, maybe, while they're visually impaired. They might need that new skill. So then I became a teacher for babies. And you know what I had to do is I had to think, what do babies need? So I'm going to ask you guys if you have ever thought about what a visually impaired baby might need or what a sighted baby needs in order to be a successful learner. I'm going to read out loud some of your responses. Oh, this is cool. Jill says they need to feel safe. Barbara says they need sensory input. Sherilyn says they need regulation. We have active learning, routines, connection, lots of physical comfort, physical stimulation and movement, lots of movement. They need to know about love, touch, bonding. Yeah. And they need to learn fun. Oh, those are great. So, yeah. That's what I had to think about. This is my new job. These are my new students. And guess what else? I had other students now. So I have to think about the parents. What do you think my parents might need as a new mom or dad, or maybe I've adopted this baby who's visually impaired. What do you think they need from me? You guys have any ideas, like what things they might be craving, or are they curious about? Okay, so they might be curious about bonding. The parents might be curious about validation or need validation, and they might need encouragement. They might be scared. They might never have done this before. Most people with a visually impaired baby haven't raised a visually impaired baby before. Somebody says, Jill says they want some hope, and yeah, those are fun things. So I discovered that a way to make the family and the baby stronger was to use infant massage. I didn't discover this by myself. It's actually been proven over and over and over with lots of scientists who research the changes that happen between a caregiver and a baby when they have a massage experience. And they've even done a lot of research on if one of those partners uses non-visual communication. So that was really cool. I read all this research, you guys. There's some links in my notes if you'd like to read research about how great infant massage is for babies 0 to 3 and their families. And what's especially wonderful today is that I'm excited that there are some school-age people out there watching me right now, listening to me, who are visually impaired themselves, who have not maybe figured out what they want to be in the future, or maybe you don't have children yet, but right now you're getting to learn about infant massage so that as you maybe mature and grow up, you can incorporate this into your life, or maybe do it now as a babysitter. It's pretty cool.
Kimala, we have a question from one of our attendees. I was told that if you are going to teach infant massage, you need liability insurance.
Well, if you're going to teach infant massage, some people choose to have liability insurance and some people don't. What you do need to do if you want to teach infant massage is get trained by other professionals, and you want to be really confident from maybe somebody who's done this a lot to help you learn how to help other people. So I'm not quite certain about the idea of liability insurance. I do have liability insurance because in America, you know, that's an important thing. If you have a business, you need it. I don't know if you have to, but that's a good question. Let's see. So I'm going to say that, yes, in our little world of babies, the most important thing is to fall in love, and infant massage can really help that. This is my secret way to help parents learn funny things about vision impairment skills, though. So my infant massage is kind of like this gateway into sharing with others what a visually impaired person needs to learn. So they need more things like less sensory information going on all at the same time. So my baby getting a massage, we're not going to put on some cute nature sounds in the background because that would compete with the information my child is using from their ears to learn about this routine. Things like that. So I get to help people adapt their environment to help their baby who's non-visual learn better. And I'll show you some of those things as we do it today. Let's see. And guess what I'm doing? I'm teaching all these parents to be teachers of the visually impaired, right? They're getting to be the teachers. I don't do it. So, would you guys like to start practicing, or would you like more information? I'm going to ask that question, and you can write it in the text box. Okay, you're ready to start practicing? People want some hands-on work. I feel like you guys are hands-on learners. Okay, this is cool. Everybody's looking like they're ready. I'm going to verbalize my strokes for people who are listening to understand the strokes, and I'm going to show the strokes on the video as well for people who are watching to learn the strokes. And I'm going to do this in a way that I never do it with families. I'm going to kind of do it simple and imagination-wise. I can't see you with your kids, and what is the most important part of infant massage is that the person who's with the baby can read the baby's cues. So I'm going to stop in between all my little motions, and I'm going to ask all of you guys if you can tell me if your stuffed animal is appreciating this moment. If they're all stiff and they want to run away, your stuffed animal might not like having its legs rubbed. You might imagine that your stuffed animal is hungry and done and doesn't want to go anymore, so you just hold it for a while, and that's totally fine. That's the most important part of the infant massage. If you notice that your infant or toy is relaxing or moving more, those are the most important parts. You don't have to get your strokes exactly right, but you do have to read your baby and share information with your baby. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna move my baby closer to me. Most people meet their baby on the ground, and they will sit in a cross-legged position with their baby's feet touching their legs. I'm gonna have my baby up so the camera can see it. But if you are at home, please be sitting on the ground so your baby feels comfortable on the ground. Don't just throw them up on a table like I'm doing. Okay, we're only going to do one part of the baby today, and we're going to do the legs. This is a very visually impaired specific strategy that I like to introduce to families. Why do you think we start with legs? Why would it be so great for a person who doesn't have vision to start with your legs? Any ideas? It's less intrusive. It helps motivate them to walk. Oh, that's cool. They're less guarded. So they're, yeah, I've seen that babies who are visually impaired, they have very curious feet, and they tend to explore more with their feet, and they're more willing to have people touch their feet. They're less scared when people touch their feet. So yeah, well, that's a good reason. Okay, so I'm going to read these out loud. It's going to seem a little bit rehearsed, and it is rehearsed because it's a routine, which is good for babies. They like things to happen in the same way over and over. Okay, I'm sitting with my baby whose feet are touching my legs. And before I start, I get to ask the baby for permission. I say out loud, verbally, "May I massage your feet?" So my baby doesn't understand English or any language yet, but it does have an idea of what touch is, and it understands touch. So I'm going to use hand under hand, in this case, hand under feet. And I'm going to put my massage oil, which is coconut oil, underneath my baby's foot and ask it again. May I massage your feet? Can you imagine what your baby is thinking right now? I mean, you could write that in your chat box if you're able to. What's your baby thinking when I put something underneath his feet? Baby might be thinking, what is that? What is this? Cool. Okay. So my baby's curious. Now I'm going to rub my hands together and make a cool sound. I don't know if you can hear this, but if you rub your hands together like they're very cold, sometimes it sounds like wind. So when I take my coconut oil and I put it in my hands, I rub it and I place it over the baby's face, because you know what? This is giving them a warning that something's about to happen, and it kind of makes them curious. And my hands are all warm, and I'm going to place them on the baby's belly, and this gives them a cue that my hands are going to start being on them. Can you guys put your hands on the belly of your animals and your babies okay? Is it okay? It's kind of funny just to sit there with your hands on your stuffed animal, right? But it's really important to be still. Now we're going to add to this stillness by breathing together. You can get close to your baby, maybe in their face, and do big breaths so that they can learn from you.
How hard are you putting pressure?
I'm putting pressure on the baby so that it feels kind of like a warm hug. I'm not pressing down to flatten him like a pancake. I'm just kind of laying my hands on them to let them know I'm here in a gentle way. Nothing that I think would make my baby sad, but you know, just kind of let them know I'm here. So when I breathed, took those breaths like that, I felt different. Did you guys feel different as a parent of stuffed animals? It kind of calmed you down a little bit? Okay, so that's a great place to start when we're all calm and we're ready to learn. If my baby right now were to start crying, I would have to stop. My baby's very good because it's a doll, so I'm gonna keep going, but probably halfway through I'll pretend my baby's upset. Okay, the strokes we're gonna do are for legs and feet. Stroke number 1 is called Indian milking. It's kind of like you're milking a cow. I don't know if anybody's milked a cow before, but the idea is we're going to help the blood of the body move through the leg, kind of like you help the milk of a cow move through the udder. So my hand is like it's going to grab a cup, but instead it grabs the baby's thigh. And then I move my cupped hand from the thigh to the foot while I kind of give a gentle amount of pressure and squeeze. And I move it up toward the foot to help me remember the direction of travel. And for help the baby, I use the words thigh, foot, thigh, foot, thigh, foot. That was stroke number 1. So how did that feel? Oh, well, actually, yeah, somebody wrote down that if they're doing this, they can't text. That's so smart. Yeah, it's hard to text and massage at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to stroke number 2. This one's called hug and glide. So on the leg, our hands are gonna be the huggers. And they're gonna hold the leg this time like they're holding a water bottle by the thigh area. So both my hands are cupped around together, fingertips touching. And I'm going to bring my hands toward the feet with some gentle pressure. And when I reach the feet, I'll go back down to the thigh. And I'm going to tell my baby what I'm touching. Thigh, foot, thigh, foot. I'm going to take a second to look at my baby's cues. Are their hands wiggling? Are their hands fisted? Are their hands in their mouth? Are they having hiccups? Are they breathing different? These are the kind of things I do with parents. It's more important to look at what the baby's feeling with all their cues than it even is to get the strokes correct. Okay, now stroke.
We have several questions coming through in the chat window.
Thank you. What are they?
What is the difference between these two positions?
The difference between the Indian milking and hug and glide is that in Indian milking, you have one hand at a time going up from the thigh to the foot. And in hug and glide, we have both our hands wrapped around the thigh and they simultaneously move toward the foot together. Like you are moving your hands from the bottom of a water bottle to the top of the water bottle wrapped all the way around.
And great, thank you. And when do we massage down their foot too?
Nope, we stop at the ankle. Next, we're going to do feet. So I like that introduction.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to move my child a little bit awkwardly. Don't do this to your baby so that you can see what the bottom of my baby's foot looks like. And we're going to start with the bottom of the feet first. This stroke is called thumb over thumb. And I put my thumb on the baby's heel with some pressure on the bottom of the foot and it travels toward the toes with some pressure and stops at the toes. Then my other thumb takes a turn pressing on the heel, and it travels to the toe in a fairly strong amount of pressure. Don't hurt the baby, but like don't tickle the baby either. So you kind of have to figure that out. And I repeat the words heel, toe, as my thumbs travel from heel, toe on the bottom of the baby's foot. Stroke number 4 is called toe roll. Toe roll is like people play This Little Piggy Went to Market. So it's the same exact thing. We take a toe and we wiggle it. And I like to use numbers because I want my kids to be smart when they grow up. So I'm going to count the toes. 1 toe, 2 toes, 3 toes, 4 toes, 5 toes. Now, I'm going to look at my baby and say, how did they feel about that toe thing? Was it different than when I was on their thighs? Are they behaving differently? I'm going to really pay attention to that.
Kimala, we have another question. Do you usually do it through the clothes?
Oh, good question. Usually my infants are have their clothes off if they're comfortable with that, like if that's how they like to be. And my doll doesn't have its clothes can't come off. So that's a really good question. We want skin on skin most of the time. Sometimes babies get way too cold, so we keep a towel kind of really close, an extra blanket, and maybe we have a little heater nearby so that when their clothes are off, they're still warm. And we can still have skin-to-skin contact.
Thank you. That's helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the question.
And you need to just adjust your camera a little bit, please.
Oh, yes. Go back down to the baby.
Great.
Okay. So now we are going to work on the top of the foot. So the top of the foot is pretty small space, and you probably never even really thought about it before. But we're going to massage it the same way we did the bottom of the foot. My thumb is going to start at the toes, and it's going to travel up to the ankle, giving pressure on the top of foot. And I use the word top of foot, top of foot, top of foot. That's a very good orientation and mobility thing, right? That's what I'm thinking, top of foot. And then, oh my gosh, I forgot one of my most favorite things. I skipped over beep, beep, beep. Okay, guys, I'm going backwards, but I make mistakes. That's okay. I'm going to reverse this. There's another step, another stroke I missed out on teaching you. It's called pressing balls. It's called thumb press. And I like it because it's what people sometimes refer to as reflexology, but we don't have to know exactly where to push on the baby's feet. They just like to have lots of spots pressed on their feet like they have buttons down there. Imagine that the bottom of your baby's foot is like a keyboard and you're pressing all the letters. And I like to make sounds because babies like sounds like beep, 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 beep. I can't believe I skipped that stroke. That's one of my favorites. Okay, now we're going to go back to step number 8, stroke number 8, ankle circles. So when a person has an anklet on, you know, like a bracelet except for an anklet, it wraps all the way around their ankle. And we're going to make little circles with our finger, like you're drawing little tiny circles all the way around the base of the leg where the leg meets the foot, called the ankle. And I use the words ankle, 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 ankle. Now, I'm going to look at my kids. I'm going to I'm going to take a break and make you guys use your imagination. Can you pretend that your doll is telling you something right now with the way they're behaving? If you had to figure out what your kid is feeling, what would you say? Oh, somebody says they have to poop. Very good. A lot of massage makes babies go to the bathroom. They're smiling because they like the closeness. Somebody says the baby looks curious. Maybe the baby's very still. Maybe that means baby's really holding still, and that's curious. Some babies maybe pull away because it tickles, and so you have to say, oh, maybe this is too ticklish, we'll do something else. And somebody said the kids might be focused, like they are really attuned and paying attention to this new thing. Somebody said the body is calm. So maybe the body stopped moving so much because maybe baby sits around and wiggles a lot all the time, but then when we're doing this, it holds still. So those are cool observations of your babies.
Are there any modifications for infants with very high muscle tone and the tone gets worse with massage?
So sometimes when you massage a baby with high muscle tone, they get more stiff. Is that what you're saying? As long as you feel like it's not you're reading the cues together, that the baby's not in pain, the baby isn't getting stiff, maybe because of discomfort or sadness or anger. Maybe it's just a reaction to this new information that they get a little more solid. You can continue as long as it doesn't seem like it's discomfort, and you just follow their level of allowing movement. So if they don't really want a lot of movement, don't force them to move. Just kind of go along with their stiffness. They don't have to be flexible to enjoy this, and you can maybe notice next time if they get loose or if it changes. Maybe different parts of the body get stiffer, and maybe parts of the body relax. Somebody asked if you would shake out the tone in between massage movements. That means that if you want to shake out the tone, it kind of give a little wiggle, and some of the people who have higher tone can relax the tone. That's something that if you've learned that works for your baby, then you do that. So each baby's so unique that I will coach the family on, oh, your baby looks stiff right here, we can wiggle it and see how that happens too. Okay. Let's see. So I did ankle circles. Now we're gonna do Swedish milking in reverse. Okay. So remember how we milked the cow toward the foot? Now we're gonna milk all that blood back down to their torso. We're gonna return all this warmth and stuff that we created down back into their big body, their organs. So my hand's gonna be like holding their leg like I'm holding a cup of coffee and giving it a gentle hold. And as my hand moves down toward their thigh, it's going to sort of be reminding the blood in the body that it can go back to the bigger parts of the body and relaxing the muscles along the way. I will tell the baby what I'm touching. Foot to thigh, foot to thigh, foot to thigh. And now that all of this energy is kind of back in the center of my baby's body, I'm going to sneak my hands underneath his bottom so that my hands are on the ground in between him and his diaper. And this lets my hands lift his bottom up about an inch and release it back down onto my hands with a little thump. So it's not a big thump, but it's kind of fun to get bounced a little bit. You know, babies like bouncing on legs and stuff. This is a gentle bounce. It goes bump, 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 bump. Now I have an end of the routine cue for my baby. The end of the routine is going to be the same as the start. It's going to be breathing together. So I'm going to put my hands again on the baby's chest and get close to it, and we're going to breathe together. That was a lot of work, baby. It's a surprising amount of work for a child to tolerate that much information. And so usually we don't make it this far. With every baby, I don't think I've ever made it this far. Most of the time we have to take lots of breaks. My baby, we didn't, because we're doing this live and we're doing it pretend. Then I'm going to use a touch cue, a hand under hand tactile cue to tell the baby I'm all done with this routine. My hand is now underneath the baby's, and I'm going to pair movement with my words. I'm going to say all done. When I say all, my hand will wave like I'm waving goodbye. And when I say done, I'm going to remove my hand. So it looks like this. All done. And so I've just shared some non-visual communication as part of this routine. You can have other non-visual communications, but I really like that one. So that is just one leg, and that took a while, right?
Kimala, we have a couple of questions before we move on. That was great. Yeah. What does shake out the tone look like?
Okay, so this is something that people who are in the medical field tend to use to help people who have a very high tone. So high tone would mean like maybe you're making a muscle with your arm and you get really strong, okay? That's kind of a way to imagine it. You're very stiff and your muscle is tight. If maybe you wiggle that stiffness, it kind of might loosen up the muscle so that you can move with a little more flow.
Thank you. And one more question was, could you talk about the massage cream? You mentioned that you use coconut oil. Do you have other, maybe just talk about that, please.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you asked because I obviously forgot to introduce it. When you're working with a baby who has infant massage as part of their routine, you need to use edible oils. This one's coconut oil. It's edible because I eat with it. I can put it on my toast and I can fry with it. Any human can eat coconut oil. Well, as long as they're not allergic to it. What we recommend is that you use the kind of things that you have in the cupboard that your family's already used to. So some people cook with peanut oil. The idea is that when the baby might put their foot in their mouth later on, they're not going to get a mouthful of Jergens body lotion or a mouthful of other kind of things that might make our skin soft but taste terrible. Are there any other questions? I love your guys' questions.
Yes, there are actually.
Okay.
Is this okay for premature babies? What age is it appropriate for?
This is very appropriate for premature babies. A lot of research has been done with premature babies getting this system, and they grow faster. They have less ear infections. They're better eaters. They grow bigger muscles. There's all kind of research where they watch these babies who are born early and they measure them before and after infant massage, and they do really well. You'll have to, of course, know each baby's unique characteristics well. That's why this is an intro to class. And what would be really cool is this, if you're this interested in it, there are infant massage instructors in your areas that you could probably connect with through a Google search. I can't say that there's somebody in every community, but wouldn't it be fun if we could make that happen and we could help maybe other people who are already infant massage instructors but don't know about vision impairment to become good at what visually impaired kids also need as part of instruction?
Very true. And a couple more.
Sure.
Do you alternate between right and left each time with the feet?
I stay on one leg at a time, and then I move on to the next leg. So
for babies without sensation in their legs, is there anything additional that can be done through massage to improve circulation?
If they don't have any sensation, I'm not sure. We would have to think about that baby's unique needs really closely. Maybe we would talk to their doctor and their parents a little bit about it to make sure that we weren't hurting them by doing the massage on their legs if there was something big going on down there. And all the other body parts are definitely done in infant massage. So we start with the legs because they're the least scary for any kid, sighted or not. And then we move on to arms and hands, the chest, the face, and the back. And
Thank you.
it takes about 5 weeks to get all those things done. So I'll come into the house for, 5 or 6 weeks, because we can only really do one body part at a time because it takes a while. And babies don't last a whole hour like we're lasting right now.
Back to the question about oil, would you recommend in general avoiding types of oils with known allergies, like no peanut oil?
Well, in the instruction class, they tend to say that the most edible oils, like peanut oils, are okay for the infants. But if you know that it's allergic to peanut oil, then definitely don't do it. So you definitely have to know your kid first. Like I said before, it's not the strokes or the oil that's important. It's knowing when you give the oil, is it a good match for your baby? Or when you give the stroke, is it a good match for your baby? So we really have to know our kids first before we start this. There's no one thing that's best for everybody. And I like to be considerate of all their needs.
If a baby has brain damage, would this technique possibly restore any brain activity?
What this does is remember when I said it lowers the cortisol in your brain? So when you're stressed, you have this process in your brain where you're stressed and you release all these hormones called cortisol. Infant massage calms down the body and stops the brain from making cortisol. So what that does is it allows the front part of the brain by your forehead to start making new connections. And so your brain actually does get stronger. In the first 3 years of life, you're just growing you have the possibility of growing billions of brain connections. The more you can relax as a baby, the more opportunity you have to learn with your thinking brain. So just like us, if they're super stressed, they're not going to do so well at a math problem. So if they're super stressed, they're not going to do so well at crawling. And we're going to let them practice relaxation. So because life is about stress, even for babies, they have to take big risks about the world. I want my babies moving. I don't want them always laying on their backs and getting massages. So when they get smarter, they get braver. Like the literature says, babies who are visually impaired in massage tend to move out into space away from their parents with more confidence and more planning skills. So that totally applies to babies who had any sort of damage in their brain too.
One question, there are a bunch more questions coming in, but I want to make sure that we address the issue of who can do this. So for example, after having watched this webinar, how much more training would people need first before they could do it with an infant, if they're not the parent of the infant, and a second, how they could get certified if they wanted to learn a little bit more.
Okay. So I'm going to imagine that maybe that person is like I'm going to imagine the different audiences. So maybe that person is a
TVI.
A TVI? Okay,
Right.
Good. So as a TVI, I would recommend that you become certified in infant massage, which means that you learn all of these detailed questions that we're talking about right now. And you attend a class to become a certified infant massage instructor, which is what I did. So that empowers you to really know the nitty gritty, and you can teach it to the families. If you are a TVI and you don't have the time to get certified or something like that, I would look for somebody in your community who's also who's certified already, and the two of you can partner with the families to make a low vision friendly infant massage routine so that you can share the knowledge of how to put both things together and make the routine friendly for a visually impaired learner. There are, this is a book that you can just buy on the internet that is produced by the organization that certified me, the International Association for Infant Massage. They certified people from Australia to Alaska like me, to South America. There are people who are certified in this person's techniques. And what's really cool about it is it does have all the strokes in it for you to learn and to practice at home. And it has a special section on kids who have different motor needs, different brain needs, different hearing needs, different visual needs. So they really do acknowledge that there are a lot of prematurity and you can kind of change how you're working with your kid based on that information.
Would you please say the title and the author, because
yes.
not everyone.
Yeah, it's in my notes or the things that they sent out before, but I can read it out loud to you. The name of the book is Infant Massage, A Handbook for Loving Parents. And I think it's hilarious. It was written by a person named Vimala, so it rhymes with Kimala, but with a V, Vimala McClure. And you can get it on Amazon.
Thank you. Yeah. How would you structure the room with, for example, low light, calm music?
Good idea. So how would I change things, especially for a visually impaired kid? I don't really want calm music. I kind of want the room to be empty so that what they hear is my hands, or if they hear me put my coconut oil somewhere else, I want it to be noticeable. Other things that I would do for the environment, though, would be to make sure that I have a blanket nearby and that it's warm enough. Sometimes you can use music if it works for your kid later on, but I just let people know that when you are auditory learner, you don't want so much competition.
Thank you. And would you ever use this on an older student with multiple impairments and visual impairments?
Yeah, and this program is appropriate for people who have motor impairments of any age and no motor impairments of any age. So one of the benefits of this is that if you start now with your infant, they will feel more, more familiar with massage, maybe when they're a 4-year-old and they're losing their mind because they don't want to share toys with somebody else. And you offer a massage and they remember how good that is and they do it again. Or maybe when they're 8 years old and they come home and they have hated their day and they lay down on your lap and you just massage their back. And literally, when my kids were teenagers, sometimes in the morning we would drink coffee, the parents and the kids would just lay on our back and we just massaged their back. And they liked that as they woke up before they had to go face high school. You know, there's a lot of benefit over all the ages with all kinds of bodies.
I think all the other questions are just people want to see more body parts. So would you do this the same on the arms as on the legs? We only have about 10 minutes. So whatever else you have time to show us, we'd love to hear.
Okay, I'm going to do the back because arms are the hardest for babies who are visually impaired. And probably what babies hate the most who are visually impaired is called tummy time. And so this is my sneaky way to introduce tummy time to a baby who doesn't enjoy being on his stomach at all, because most kids who have vision feel a little more secure when they're placed flat on their stomach, but people who are not able to see feel a little more insecure when they're placed flat on their stomachs when they're babies. So if you take your babies, and I'm going to put it on a chair so that you can see my baby, but what I'd rather you guys do is put it on your lap. So let me show you what that looks like. This is how I would want my visually impaired baby to get some tummy time. It's resting on my knees, on my lap. I'm on the couch and he's laying across it with his face toward the floor. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a test. What do I do first? This is kind of mean of me. I was going to demonstrate. But now I'm making you tell me, what would I do first? Make sure baby can breathe. You're very funny. Ask permission. Yes, ask permission is the most important part. Okay, cool. So how did I ask permission? I did it with my voice. Would you like a massage? And then I did it with my tactile cue, which I'm going to do it again. Oil underneath foot. Would you like a massage? And then I'm going to remind them that I'm getting close to this by putting my hands on the baby and saying again, would you like a massage? Now, here's another trick question. Are we asking it because we're just asking it, or are we asking it because we really want to know? Am I just asking it because I pretend that I care that you have a choice? Or if the baby says no, do I stop? Yeah, we really want to know. If I'm saying, do you want a massage, and this baby freaks out, I'm not going to keep going. So, trick question. All right, my baby. My baby said yes. Hopefully all your stuffed animals said yes also. The back is pretty easy. I'm going to move. Oops, let me move. Thank you for letting me know my baby's out of there. Okay, I'm going to start with my hands at the part of the back that's closest to the head and move my hands flat against the whole of the back down toward the bottom in a gentle pressure down toward the bottom. Lifting my hands back up, I go to the top again, and I just make a gentle motion downwards. My second is called, this one's called, sweeping from neck to buttocks. So this is sweeping like you would sweep the floor. So the hand is sort of sweeping from shoulder to shoulder, moving from shoulder to shoulder across the back. And then as the hand travels toward the bottom, it's still sweeping side to side to side to side. It's sweeping like a broom, but you're sweeping with your hands. And then remember how we did ankle circles? We're going to do back circles. We're going to imagine that we're making little circles all over the back, pressing down gently. And I'm going to imagine that my baby's fussy. I haven't done this yet. So it's crying. It's a gentle cry. Should I adjust myself? You know, what do they not like? Or there's those cries that are over the top, like, totally not liking this. So you pick them up and you breathe together for a while. So this is where you would regulate together by maybe breathing. I don't know what works for your stuffed animals. Maybe they like rocking. Maybe you like humming. And you have to kind of figure out as a team if you're ready to start again or if you're really all done. And if you're really all done, you can say, I hear you. We are all done, by putting your hand underneath their hand and saying, all done. So that is an introduction. I hope that it made you want to learn more, and you can probably talk to teachers around you to learn more, or early intervention places. Head Start usually has some infant massage instructors. I just kind of like the idea that today we took the opportunity during this pandemic when we're all stuck at home to sort of share with each other things we're excited about. So I don't really have all the answers for you guys about who to contact right now, but I would hope that we could maybe start that conversation.
Thank you so much. We have another question. Can you please show the third backstroke again?
The third one, I think that was circles. Circles are like I'm drawing a circle, a round motion that travels with my hands, my fingertips pressing down on the back of the baby. And I'm traveling all over random places and noticing how the baby feels about this more. Gosh, this is a more different motion for the baby to process than when it was.
You are using all of your fingertips on both hands to do this.
Thank you. Yes, all of them. Yeah. Maybe my baby likes a lot of movement with a lot of pressure. Maybe my baby, you know, like your stuffed animal might just like a little bit. You can experiment, like my instructor said, and the program says, your strokes are pretty important to do it right, but it's not the most important. The most important is you understand what your kid likes during the stroke and you adjust it.
Do you need to pay attention?
Any of the back massages that you need to pay attention to the spine?
We don't really get too deep with our babies. We are super sort of surfacey massaging them. So I'm imagining that you wouldn't really hurt the spine of your kid unless you were really forgetting to pay attention to how they feel and maybe going too deep. And hopefully they'd give you a sign. So maybe stay a little more on the top of the back rather than getting way down in there and flattening to the ground.
You're getting so many comments. This was great. Wonderful job. Thank you. Are you coming back?
That would be fun. Yes, that would be great.
We were so glad to have you. If you have any other questions, please do. We have a few more minutes, so you can go ahead and put those in the chat window.
I have a question. Are any of the students who are home from school, like in elementary school, are you excited about this, like to use it in any way? That was my most exciting part.
Well,
I will
Sina,
tell you, at my house, my 6-year-old daughter has a line right now out the door of a bunch of her stuffies that all want to have massage.
Nice.
So we're going to have a unicorn and a cat and a bunny and an otter who are all going to be massaged this afternoon.
Great, great. All right, well, hopefully this brings some peace into our homes right now. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. And those of you who are at home, we also have a lineup for next week. So we will be having Kate Cadillac back. She was with us this week for Staying at Home, parts 3 and 4. We also have Gwen McCormick coming back. And we have, I'm excited about this one, on Monday, we have an abacus lesson. So for those of you who are loving math, I hope you do join us for the abacus lesson. Do check out our schedule. Charlotte has posted in our chat window a couple of resources for you. Kimala has a handout, a PDF handout, and so Charlotte posted that in the chat window. And as well as the schedule for next week, you can look back on Paths to Literacy. Both APH and Paths to Literacy have been archiving all of the sessions and closed captioning them. Belinda, thank you so much for your closed captioning. She's joining us from Hawaii. She joins us every day to do that. So shout out to you. Thank you for your help getting those closed captions done. And we hope to see you next week. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a fantastic weekend ahead. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
And we usually do stay a little longer.